The small ship floated among the stars. Inside, a 17-year-old girl named Gia slept in a cold pod. She had been sleeping for a very long time. The ship's computer watched over her, waiting for the right time to wake her up. 50 years ago, a powerful group called the Galactic Empire had destroyed Earth. Humans had refused to join the Empire, so the Empire killed them all. Or at least, they thought they had killed them all. One small ship had escaped. On that ship was a tiny baby girl, put to sleep in a special pod that kept her from aging too quickly. Her parents had known they would die, but they wanted their child to live. The ship's computer had raised Gia. It taught her about Earth, about humans, and about the stars. It showed her videos of oceans and mountains, of cities and forests. It played her music and told her stories. It taught her how to fight, how to fly the ship, and how to survive. Most importantly, it taught her about the empire that had destroyed her home. They think all humans are dead, the computer told her. They don't know about you. Gia often felt alone. She talked to the computer, but it wasn't the same as having real friends. Sometimes she cried when she watched videos of Earth families laughing together. She would never have that. Why did they save just me? She asked the computer once. Your parents believe humans should not disappear from the universe, the computer answered. They believed you could make a difference someday. Gia didn't know how one girl could make any difference against an empire that controlled thousands of worlds. But she trained hard anyway. She became strong and smart. She learned everything the computer could teach her. The ship had been looking for a safe place for Gia to live. For many years, it had found nothing but empty planets or worlds already taken by the Empire. But today, something had changed. The computer woke Gia from her sleep. I have found a planet, it said. It is called Navu. Gia climbed out of her pod, her legs weak after the long sleep. She went to the ship's window and looked out. A blue-green planet hung in the darkness. It looked a little like Earth in the pictures she had seen. Are there people there? She asked. Yes, said the computer. The Navuians, they have refused to join the Empire, just as humans did. Gia felt a spark of hope. Maybe she had found friends at last. But then she noticed the large ships in orbit around the planet. Dark ships with sharp edges, Imperial ships. They're going to destroy Navu, she whispered, just like they destroyed Earth. The computer didn't answer. It didn't need to. They both knew what the Empire did to worlds that refused to obey. Gia went to a small box on the wall. Inside was a message chip left by her parents. She had watched it hundreds of times. She played it again now. Her mother's face appeared, tired but determined. Remember Earth, she said. Remember what they did. Gia put the chip away and turned to the ship's controls. Can we slip past those Imperial ships? She asked. Our cloaking technology is still working, the computer said, but it would be dangerous. Gia thought about the people on the planet below. People who, like humans, had said no to the Empire. People who would die if no one helped them. We're going down, she decided. Find us a landing spot away from cities. As the ship began its descent, hiding from the Imperial sensors, Gia felt afraid. But she also felt something else. For the first time in her life, she had a chance to do something that mattered. She was the last human, and she was no longer going to hide. Gia's small ship landed in a thick forest outside the main city of Navu. Trees with purple leaves swayed in the wind. The air smelled sweet and strange. This was the first time Gia had ever set foot on a planet. She stepped out of her ship carefully. The ground felt soft under her feet. She looked up at the sky, which was a deep green color. 2 small moons were visible even in daylight. I need to find the Navians, she said to herself. I need to warn them. She took a small bag with some tools and food, then locked her ship. The computer would keep it hidden with its cloaking device. Gia started walking toward the city she could see in the distance. After an hour, she heard a noise. Someone was moving through the trees. Gia hid behind a large trunk and waited. A tall blue figure appeared. It looked almost human, but had 4 arms and large silver eyes. It was carrying some kind of machine and looking at the ground. Jia watched as the blue person kneeled down to examine some plants. He seemed peaceful. Taking a deep breath, Jia stepped out. "Hello," she said. The blue person jumped up, dropping his machine. His silver eyes went wide with fear. "Don't be afraid," Jia said quickly. "I'm not here to hurt you." The Navuan stared at her. What are you?" he asked in a voice that sounded like gentle bells. "I'm a human," Jia said. "My name is Jia." The Navuan took a step back. "Humans are gone. The Empire destroyed them 50 years ago. Everyone knows that." "Not all of us," Jia said. "I escaped. I'm the last one." The Navuan looked unsure. "The Empire says humans were dangerous. They say humans would have destroyed the galaxy if they hadn't been stopped." Jia felt angry, but she kept her voice calm. "That's not true. The Empire destroyed Earth because we wouldn't join them. Just like you won't join them." The Navuan was quiet for a moment. Then he picked up his machine. "I am Dad," he said. "I study plants. Or I did, until the Empire came." "They're going to destroy your world," Jia said, "just like they destroyed mine." Dad's 4 hands trembled. "I know. Our leaders tried to talk with them, but the Empire doesn't talk. They just take." "Is there somewhere we can go?" Jia asked. "I want to help you." Day looked at her with doubt in his silver eyes. "How can one small human help us? The Empire has thousands of ships. They have weapons that can break a planet apart." "I have knowledge," Jia said. "I have my ship. And I have something the Empire doesn't expect, a human who knows their ways." After thinking for a moment, Dai nodded. "I had a lab hidden in the mountains. The Empire hasn't found it yet. I was working on ways to protect our people." As they walked through the forest, Dai told Jia about Navu. The Navuians were scientists and artists. They had no weapons, no armies. When the Empire came demanding they join, the Navuians had politely refused. Now they were paying the price. "Why does the Empire want everyone to join them so badly?" Jia asked. "They take resources from each world," Dai explained. "They use our people as workers, and they believe the galaxy should be under one rule, theirs." When they reached Dai's hidden lab, Jia showed him the records from her ship, the true history of Earth, not the Empire's lies. Dai watched the videos with sadness. "So it's the same story everywhere," he said. "Your people tried to stay free, just like mine." Jia nodded. "But this time, the ending will be different. This time, the Empire won't win." Dai looked at the small human girl standing before him. "How can you be so sure?" Jia smiled. "Because they think they've already won. And that's when people make mistakes." Dai's lab was built inside a mountain. It had many screens and strange machines. Other Navuians worked there too. When they saw Jia, they stepped back in fear. "Don't be afraid," Dai told them. "She is a human, but she is here to help us." A tall female Navuian walked forward. "I am Han, the leader of our group," she said. "How can one small human help us against the Empire?" Jia looked at all the blue faces watching her. "First, I need to know what we're facing. Do you have any information about the Empire's plans?" Han nodded and touched a screen. A map appeared, showing the planet Navu and the Empire ships above it. "They will attack in 3 days," Han said. "They will destroy our main cities first, then the smaller towns. They want to make us an example to other worlds who might say no to them." Jia studied the map. "Who leads them? Who gives the orders?" "Commander Tay," Dai answered. "He has crushed 17 worlds before ours. No one has ever stopped him." Jia thought about this. The Empire is strong because they work together perfectly. All their ships, all their soldiers follow orders exactly. What if we could break that? "How?" Han asked. "On my ship, I have tools that can jam signals," Jia explained. "If we can put them in the right place, We can stop Commander Tai from talking to his ships. They won't know what to do. Day looked excited. That could work. But we would need to get your tools onto the main Empire ship. I'll go, Jia said. Everyone started talking at once. Han raised her forehands for quiet. That's crazy, she said to Jia. They would catch you right away. No, they wouldn't, Jia argued. The Empire thinks all humans are dead. They've never seen one in person. Most of their soldiers wouldn't even know what I look like. Day seemed worried. It's still too dangerous. The main ship has hundreds of guards. Do you have any Imperial uniforms? Jia asked. Any that you've taken from their soldiers? Han walked to a cabinet and pulled out a gray uniform. It was too big for Jia, but she could make it work. I can pretend to be a new worker, Jia said. I'll say I'm from a faraway planet. If I act like I belong there, most people won't question me. The Navuians looked at each other. This plan was risky, but they had no better ideas. I'll need more than just the jamming tools, Jia said. I need to learn everything about how the Empire's ships work, how their people talk, how they act. For the next 2 days, Jia studied hard. Day and Han taught her Imperial words and customs. She practiced walking and talking like an Imperial worker. Meanwhile, other Navuians fixed the uniform to fit her. They also built a small ship that could get her close to the Empire's main ship without being seen. The night before she was to leave, Jia couldn't sleep. She went outside the lab to look at the stars. Day found her there. Are you afraid? He asked. Yes, Jia admitted. But I'm also angry. The Empire took everything from me. My family, my world, my people. If I don't stop them, they'll keep taking from others. Dad put one of his forehands on her shoulder. When I first saw you, I didn't believe one human could make a difference. Now I'm starting to think maybe you can. Jia looked up at the Empire ships, tiny lights in the night sky. Tomorrow we'll find out, she said. As she went back inside, Jia touched the small picture of Earth she kept in her pocket. She had never seen her home planet except in videos, but tomorrow she would take the first step toward justice for it. The small ship flew quietly through space. Jia sat inside, wearing the gray Imperial uniform. Her heart beat fast, but her hands were steady on the controls. Stay calm, she told herself. Remember your training. The huge Imperial command ship grew larger in her window. It was shaped like a pointed star with 5 sharp edges. Hundreds of smaller ships flew around it like insects. Jia pressed a button, and her ship sent out an Imperial code. This code, stolen by the Navuians, would tell the big ship that she was just a supply carrier. Supply ship 247, you are cleared to dock in Bay 12, a voice said through her radio. Jia guided her ship into a small opening on the side of the giant ship. Inside was a large room with many other small ships. Workers in gray uniforms moved around carrying boxes. She landed and took a deep breath. In her pocket was the jamming device, no bigger than her thumb. All she had to do was place it near the main control room, turn it on, and get out. Easy, except that she was surrounded by thousands of Imperial soldiers who would kill her if they knew what she was. Jia stepped out of her ship, keeping her head down. She had memorized the way to the control room from maps Da had given her. She walked with purpose, like she belonged there. A group of soldiers marched past her. Jia kept walking. Workers pushed carts of equipment. Jia kept walking. Nobody looked at her twice. Until a voice called out, "You there, stop." Jia's blood went cold. She turned slowly to see an Imperial officer walking toward her. He had sharp features and cold eyes. A name tag on his uniform read Captain Jin. "Yes, sir," Jia said, trying to keep her voice steady. Captain Jin looked her up and down. "I don't recognize your species. Where are you from?" Jia remembered her cover story. "I'm from the outer reaches, sir. Just transferred here. First day." Jin frowned. "The outer reaches. What planet specifically?" "Melos, sir." Jia named a small planet she had learned about in her studies. Jin looked suspicious. "Let me see your ID card." Jia's mind raced. She had no ID card. This was bad. She glanced around for an escape route. Just then, an alarm sounded somewhere else in the ship. Jin looked up, distracted. "Emergency in Sector 7, a voice announced over speakers. Jin frowned. "Wait here," he ordered Jia. "Don't move." He hurried away toward the alarm. Jia didn't wait. As soon as Jin was out of sight, she ran in the other direction. She had to reach the control room now, before he came back looking for her. The halls were confusing, full of identical corridors and doors. But Jia had studied the maps carefully. Left, right, straight, left again, through a large door. And there it was, the communications hub. Screens covered the walls, showing different parts of the ship and the planet below. A few workers sat at control panels, too busy to notice her. Jia pretended to check something on a wall panel. While no one was looking, she slipped the jamming device into a small space behind the panel. Now she just had to turn it on and get back to her ship. Her fingers found the small switch on the device. But before she could flip it, a hand grabbed her arm. "I thought I told you to wait," said Captain Jin's cold voice. Jia turned slowly. Jin's eyes were narrow with suspicion. Behind him stood 2 armed guards. "Who are you really?" Jin asked. "And what are you doing in the communications hub?" Jia's mind raced. Her plan was falling apart. But then she remembered something Dai had told her about Imperial ships. "Sir, I was sent to check the emergency systems," she said. After the incident in Sector 7, Commander Tai ordered all systems be checked. Jin hesitated. He didn't want to question an order from Commander Tai. But he still looked suspicious. "I'll confirm that with the commander," he said, reaching for his communicator. Jia knew she had only seconds before he discovered the truth. Jia thought fast. As Captain Jin reached for his communicator, she pretended to trip and bumped into him. Her hand quickly pressed the button on the jamming device in the wall. "Sorry, sir," she said, stepping back. Jin frowned at her, but before he could speak, all the screens in the room went dark. The lights flickered. People began shouting. "What's happening?" Jin demanded, looking around. One of the workers called out, "We've lost all communications. Nothing is working." Jin turned to look at the chaos. Jia took her chance and slipped away through a side door. She ran down the hallway, hearing shouts and alarms behind her. "Intruder alert. Security breach in the communications hub," a voice announced over the speakers. The jammers hadn't stopped all communications yet. Jia needed to get back to her ship, but she also needed information. She ducked into a small room filled with computer screens. No one was there. They had all run to deal with the emergency. Quickly, Jia sat at one of the computers. She plugged in a small device from her pocket that would copy files. This was something she and Dai had planned if she got the chance. Come on," she whispered as the computer flashed with data. The door behind her opened. Jia spun around. Captain Jin stood there, his face angry. "I knew there was something wrong about you," he said. He pointed a weapon at her. "Don't move." Jia raised her hand slowly. "You don't know who I am, do you?" Jin's eyes narrowed. "You're a spy for the Navuyans." "I'm more than that," Jia said. "I'm human." Jin's eyes widened. For a moment, he looked shocked. "Impossible. Humans are extinct. The Empire destroyed Earth 50 years ago." "You missed one," Jia said. She quickly pulled the data device from the computer and held it up. "And now I have what I need." "What is that? What did you take?" Jin demanded, stepping forward. But at that moment, the ship shook violently. The jammers were working fully now. All around them, the ship's systems were failing as the command center could no longer control them. Jin lost his balance. Jia darted past him and ran down the corridor, the precious data device clutched in her hand. The ship was in chaos. Soldiers ran in all directions. No one was getting orders. No one knew what to do. Jia ran through the confusion toward the docking bay. As she turned a corner, she crashed into someone. It was a tall man in a black uniform with gold stripes. He had cold eyes and a hard face. Jia felt her blood freeze. She recognized him from the pictures Dai had shown her. Commander Tai himself. "What is happening to my ship?" he demanded, not recognizing Jia as the cause of the trouble. "Sir," Jia said, thinking quickly, "there's a fire in the engine room. All personnel are needed there." Commander Ta looked at her for a long moment. Then he nodded and hurried away. Jia let out a breath. He didn't know what a human looked like. No one in the Empire did. Finally, Jia reached the docking bay. Her small ship sat where she had left it. But there were guards now, checking all ships. "No one leaves," one guard was saying. "Commander's orders." Jia hid behind some boxes. She needed a new plan. Then she noticed a large cargo ship preparing to launch. Workers were loading the last boxes. Jia watched as they sealed the cargo door. Moving quickly, she ran to a small panel on the side of the cargo ship. Using a tool from her pocket, she opened it and slipped inside a maintenance tunnel. It was tight and dark, but she could fit. As the cargo ship's engines started, Jia smiled. She had the data. The jammers were working, and she was getting out. Below, on the planet Navu, Dai watched the sky as Imperial ships began flying in confused patterns. Some crashed into each other, others simply floated without direction. "She did it," he whispered. "The human girl actually did it." The cargo ship landed on a small moon not far from Navu. As soon as the workers left, Jia crawled out of her hiding place. She was tired and hungry, but she was free. Using a small device, she called her own ship. It had been programmed to come to her if she wasn't on the Imperial command ship. Soon, she saw it landing nearby. Jia ran to her ship and took off quickly. She needed to get back to Navu, to Dai and the others. The data she had stolen was important. When she reached Navu, she saw that things had changed. The Imperial ships were no longer confused. They had started to attack. Smoke rose from the main city. "No," Jia whispered. "I'm too late." She landed her ship near Dai's hidden lab and ran inside. Many Navuians were there, some hurt. "Jia," Dai called, running to her. "You're alive. We thought they had caught you." "I got away," Jia said. "But the city." Commander Tai ordered attacks even without communications, Han explained. Her blue face looked tired. "They're destroying everything." Jia pulled out the data device. "I got something from their computers. Let's see what it says." They plugged the device into a screen. Information appeared. Maps, plans, names. "This is amazing," Daz said as he looked through the files. "It shows all the Imperial bases. And look, a list of planets they've conquered that are close to rebellion." Jia studied the information. There are 15 planets ready to fight back. They just need to know they're not alone. Han looked doubtful. "How does this help us now? Our cities are burning." "We can send a message," Jia said, "to all these planets at once. Show them what's happening here. Show them that the Empire can be fought." "How?" Dai asked. Jia smiled. "My ship's computer can boost a signal using Imperial frequencies. We can break into their communication systems." For the next few hours, Jia and Dai worked on the message. They collected videos of the Navuian resistance fighting back against Imperial soldiers. They added Jia's story, the last human, alive and fighting. "I need to speak directly to the people watching," Jia said. She stood before a camera. "My name is Jia. I am the last human being alive. The Empire destroyed my world 50 years ago, but they failed. I survived. Now they're trying to destroy Navu, but they will fail again. We can fight back. We can win. Join us." The message went out on all Imperial channels. On 15 planets, people saw a human girl, a member of a species they thought was gone, telling them to fight back. And they did. Ships began to arrive at Navu. small fighters from nearby worlds. The rebel planets had heard the call. On the Imperial command ship, Commander Todd watched in fury as his screen showed ships arriving to help Navu. "Find the human girl," he ordered Captain Jin. "She is turning our conquered worlds against us. She must be eliminated." "Yes, Commander," Jin said. But he looked troubled. He had seen Jia's eyes when she told him she was human. He had seen the truth there. What if the Empire had been wrong about humans? Back on Navu, Jia stood with Dai as they watched more ships arrive. "It's working," Daz said in wonder. "They're actually coming to help us." Jia nodded. "This is just the beginning. The Empire has ruled through fear for too long. Now people are finding their courage." A tall captain from a distant world approached Jia. "We heard your message. We've been waiting for a sign that we could fight back. Is it true you're human?" "Yes," Jia said. "The last one." The captain bowed. "Then we follow you. The Empire fears what they destroyed. They fear humans. And now, they should." 3 days after the first rebel ships arrived, Navu was still standing. The Imperial forces had pulled back, surprised by the sudden resistance. It gave Jia and her new allies time to plan. "We've won a small battle," Jia told the leaders who had gathered in Daz's lab. "But the Empire will bring more ships, more soldiers. We need to do something big. What do you suggest?" asked Kyo, a captain from the water planet Lyru. Jia pointed to a map on the screen. "We need to go here, Imperia, the home world of the Empire. The place where all orders come from." The room went quiet. Everyone stared at her. "That's crazy," Han said. "Imperia has more defenses than any planet in the galaxy. No enemy has ever even gotten close to it." "That's why we need to try," Jia said. "They won't expect it." Days studied the map. "Even if we wanted to go, we don't know the safe paths to reach Imperia. Their space is full of traps and guards." Jia smiled and held up the data device she had stolen. "Actually, we do. I found maps. Secret routes that Imperial ships use. We can follow them." After much talk, they agreed. A small, fast ship would go to Imperia. Jia would lead the mission. Dad would go with her, along with 5 skilled fighters from other rebel worlds. They chose a ship that looked like an Imperial transport. Using codes from Joe's stolen data, they could pretend to be an official ship. As they prepared to leave, Han approached Jia. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. "You could have hidden your whole life. The Empire didn't know you existed." Jia thought about it. "Because hiding isn't living," she said, "and because someone needs to stop them." The journey to Imperia took 2 weeks. They had to move carefully, avoiding Imperial patrols. Twice they almost got caught. Once they had to hide behind a moon for 3 days, while the search party looked for rebel ships. During the long journey, Jia studied everything about Imperial culture and history. She learned about their rulers, their beliefs, their weaknesses. "They think they're better than everyone else," she told Dai as they looked at Imperial teaching materials. "They're taught from birth that ruling the galaxy is their right. How can you fight against people who believe that?" Dai asked. "By showing them they're wrong," Jia said. Finally, they reached Imperia. From space, it looked beautiful, a green and blue planet with shining cities and huge orbital stations. "So much wealth," whispered Da, "while other worlds starve." Their ship approached the main spaceport. A voice came over the radio. "Transport ship, identify yourself." Jia spoke, using the formal Imperial way of talking she had practiced. "Transport 5591. Carrying special materials from Sector 7. Priority clearance code Theta 9. There was a pause. Jia held her breath. "Transport 5591. You are cleared to dock at Bay 17. Everyone on the ship looked at each other in amazement. They had made it through the first barrier. As they docked, Jia and her team put on Imperial uniforms. The plan was simple but dangerous. Get to the central tower where the Emperor lived. find the main broadcast system, and send a message to the whole galaxy showing the truth about the Empire. Remember, Jia told her team, walk like you belong here. Don't look nervous. They stepped out of their ship into the bustling spaceport of Imperia. Guards and workers moved everywhere, but no one looked at them twice. Their disguises were working. The central tower is 5 miles from here, Daz said quietly. We need to find transport. Jia nodded. She spotted an official vehicle nearby. Follow me, she said. Her heart was beating fast. They were in the heart of the Empire now. One mistake would mean death, but they had come too far to turn back. Jia and her team took the official vehicle and drove toward the central tower. The city of Imperia was beautiful but cold. Tall buildings reached to the sky. Everything was clean and perfect. The people here look happy, Da whispered as they drove past crowds of Imperial citizens. They don't know what their leaders do to other worlds, Jia said. They only see this perfect place. The central tower stood in the middle of the city. It was the tallest building Jia had ever seen, like a silver needle pointing to the stars. Guards stood at every entrance. How do we get in? Asked Mena, a fighter from the desert world Talos. Jia pointed to a side entrance. Delivery area. Our uniforms say we're bringing special materials, remember? They drove to the delivery area and stopped. Workers were moving boxes from trucks into the building. Guards checked each truck but didn't look too carefully. Act normal, Jia reminded everyone. They got out of their vehicle and carried the boxes they had brought. Inside these boxes were not supplies but weapons and their communication device. A guard looked at their papers. What's this? Special materials for level 60, Jia said confidently. Direct orders from Commander Ta. The guard nodded and waved them through. They were in. Inside, they took a lift to the middle levels of the tower. They needed to get to level 85, where the main broadcast room was located according to Jia's stolen plans, but they couldn't go directly there without raising suspicion. We'll go up in stages, Jia said, a few floors at a time. They moved carefully through the building. Each level had more guards than the one before. Twice they had to hide in empty rooms when high-ranking officers walked past. On level 70, they ran into trouble. A security checkpoint blocked their way. We need to find another route, Daz said. Jia looked around and saw a maintenance door. This way. They slipped through the door into a narrow passage used by cleaning robots. It was tight, but they could climb up through the service shafts. After an hour of climbing, they reached level 85. Jia peeked through a vent into the hallway. Guards stood outside a large door, the broadcast room. There are too many guards, Minna whispered. We'll never get past them. Just then, an alarm sounded. A voice announced, all security personnel to level 40. Repeat, all security personnel to level 40. The guards looked at each other, then ran toward the lifts. The hallway was empty. That's strange, Daz said. Why would they leave their post? I don't know, Jia said, but this is our chance. They pushed open the vent and jumped down into the hallway. Quickly, they ran to the broadcast room door. It was locked, but one of their team, Tomi, was good with locks. In seconds, the door opened. They rushed inside, weapons ready. But the room wasn't empty. A woman sat in a tall chair in the center of the room. She wore a silver dress and had long black hair. Her eyes were cold and sharp. Jia knew who she was from the pictures in the data files. Empress Su, the ruler of the entire empire. I've been waiting for you, human, the Empress said calmly. Did you think your little alarm trick would fool me? Jia realized they had walked into a trap. The Empress had sent the guards away on purpose. How did you know we were coming? Jia asked. The Empress smiled. Captain Jin reported a human girl on Commander Tae's ship. I found it. Interesting. Humans are supposed to be extinct. So I watched and waited. Da and the others raised their weapons, but the Empress didn't seem worried. You can't win, she said to Jia. One small human against the entire empire. It's foolish. Jia stepped forward, unafraid. You destroyed my world. You've destroyed many worlds. Someone has to stop you. The Empress studied Jia with curiosity. And you think that someone is you? Yes, I am the one who will stop you, Jia said to Empress Su. Her voice was strong despite her fear. The Empress laughed. How? Your little team is surrounded. My guards will be back any moment. Jia looked at Da and nodded slightly. While the Empress was talking, Da had been working on the broadcast controls. His 4 hands moved quickly over the buttons. You're right that we can't win by fighting, Jia said, stepping closer to the Empress. But that was never our plan. Suddenly, all the screens in the room lit up. Da had activated the broadcast system. Cameras in the room turned on. What are you doing? The Empress demanded, standing up. Telling the truth, Jia said, to everyone. Da signaled that the broadcast was live. It was going to every planet in the Empire, to every ship, to every home. People of the galaxy, Jia began. My name is Jia. I am human, from Earth, a planet the Empire destroyed 50 years ago. They tried to kill all humans because we refused to obey them, just like they've done to many worlds. The Empress tried to stop the broadcast, but Mina and Tomi blocked her way. The Empire has lied to you, Jia continued. They say they bring peace and order, but they bring only death and fear. I have seen it, and now you can see it too. Dad played videos on the broadcast, clips from their journey showing Imperial ships attacking peaceful worlds, people suffering under Imperial rule, and the resistance fighting back. The Empress looked worried now. You don't understand, she said. The galaxy needs order. Without the Empire, there would be chaos. No, Jia said firmly. People need freedom. They need to choose their own path. She turned back to the cameras. Today, we can all choose a new path. Every planet, every person. You don't have to obey the Empire anymore. As she spoke, reports started coming in on the screens around them. On planet after planet, people were rising up. Imperial soldiers were putting down their weapons. Ships were changing course. The Empress watched in shock as her empire began to crumble. This can't be happening, she whispered. Jia stepped closer to her. It's already happening, but I don't want more fighting, more death. I want a new start. She turned to the camera again. I call for a galactic council, where every world has a voice. No more empire. No more conquest. We can build something better together. People across the galaxy heard her words, and they answered. Messages poured in supporting her idea. The door to the broadcast room burst open. Imperial guards rushed in, but then stopped in confusion. Their commander looked at the screens showing the uprising, then at the Empress, then at Jia. Slowly, he lowered his weapon. It's over, he said to the Empress. The people have chosen. 3 months later, Jia stood in the new council hall on a neutral planet. Representatives from hundreds of worlds sat together, talking as equals. The former Empress Su was there too, now just the representative of her homeworld. Day joined Jia by the window. Did you ever think one human girl could change the whole galaxy? He asked. Jia shook her head. No, but I had to try. What will you do now? Dai asked. The council wants you to lead them. Jia looked out at the stars. First, I want to visit Earth, or what's left of it. Pay my respects. And then, she smiled. Then we rebuild. My ship's computer has human DNA records. We could bring humans back someday. As the council meeting began, people from many worlds looked to Jia with respect. She was no longer the last human. She was the first citizen of a new galaxy, one where no empire would ever again threaten the freedom of any world. Her parents' last wish had come true. The galaxy remembered Earth now, not as a defeated world, but as the home of the girl who taught the stars what freedom meant.